BuildAid is so proud to be part of this amazing, bustling city of gold. Come behind the scenes with us as we explore what really goes into the development, refurbishment and creation of this incredible city we call home. From past to present, we look at what makes Jersey unique and what the future holds.
BuildAid on Mix 93.8 FM. Good evening. My name's Graham Alexander. We have a studio full of specialists. We're going to be talking about the structure of a home and, more importantly, how to plan the structure of a home. We're going to be talking about walls, concrete and roofing with 4 special guests. This is also a prelude to the homeowner workshops that will be held over the next 10 months in partnership with Mix FM, Garden and Home Magazine and Builders Warehouse. In the studio, as usual, Simon on the desk and Kay looking after all of us.
And tonight I've got a question for you, and you could win 2 tickets to the first workshop on the 6th of May. So you might have noticed, if you're driving around Jersey, the amount of entertainment at Robots. We've got mimes, jugglers, clowns, dancers. It's absolutely astounding. I was at a Robot in 4 Ways the other day, and I just didn't want it to turn green because I wanted to watch the dudes. So it got me wondering about where all the circus has gone, because where are these guys coming from? So the question tonight is, can you name a pretty famous circus that used to be in Joburg? If you can send me the name on 41348, you could win 2 tickets to the workshop.
BuildAid on Mix 93.8, brought to you by AfriSam. One of my guests this evening is Bram van der Walt from a company called Rainbow Ready Mix. Bram, thank you so much for coming to chat to us.
Good evening.
What's interesting about Rainbow Ready Mix, from a homeowner's point of view and a planning point of view, concrete is probably one of the things right at the bottom of the list from a planning point of view. But it's a significant element in a building that has a related and significant cost. The guys at Rainbow offer this as a system. Bram, give us an overview of how you guys supply concrete as a supply and fit product.
Well, first of all, we will supply the product to the customer, but as a service and an add-on service, we will do the placing and the floating, whether it's in the foundations, in the floor slabs, and make sure that our part of the work, we have done it properly, placed it properly to the client or the architect or engineer's specification.
Bram, this obviously helps probably the architect, certainly the homeowner, but definitely the building contractor in the quoting process. Because right up front, before anything starts, the builder has to work out his price. Now, before, you'd have to sort of little bit of guesswork on how much concrete he needs and digging the trenches. Now it's one price.
Yeah, especially the homeowner that does not have access to quantity surveyors. They bring the plans to us. We will then calculate from the foundation plan his cost as accurate as we can, depending if the builder digs the foundations to the spec, and then see from the onset how we can save money and stay exactly to the quantities that we've calculated.
When the drawings are initially produced, Bram, it's by the architect or the architectural professional, and sometimes standard specifications and regulations are used with regard to the size of foundations, footings and so on. That may not be required. So your professionals, do you rework it? When I say your professionals, your engineer specifies how these foundations should be put in.
Yeah, the final decision is always with the structural engineer, and we follow exactly what he subscribes and do, because there is sometimes internal walls that might be smaller and externals that might be bigger, but this is normally the responsibility of the structural engineer, and they will give it to us and make sure that what we do is exactly what they require.
Bram, does this system make the concrete element of a structure more cost effective?
Yeah, for sure, I would imagine, because although it's under the ground, it's normally the things that you cannot see that cost the most money. And if the client can save there and add it onto the building, he can get maximum value on the stuff that he can finally see, the finishes, etc. So we try and keep it as low as possible, and that's why we offer the service of showing the customer exactly how to place it, float it, and then save him money in the way that they normally would not get from.
Yeah. So a heads up for homeowners is, although concrete might be this stuff that's vaguely in a building, ask a contractor or get involved in the quoting process to get a system supplied like Rainbow Ready Mix provides, rather than working out the concrete, who digs the trench, who messes, and so on and so on. And it gets even more complicated if you want to mix the concrete on site.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, because ready mix, concrete is not like it used to be in the olden days. Somebody told me once, they say this is liquid steel, and that's exactly what it is. We, as you do this on and on, you can actually see how complex it is. So on-site batching is definitely a thing of the past. I would imagine that in the future it's going to be only a ready mix.
My name's Graham Alexander. I'm chatting to Uwe Schlute from Mitek and Willem Grove from Monier-Coverland, chatting about roofing. We started with concrete, we spoke to Bram van Walt, and this is a prelude to workshops that are going to be held over the next 10 months in conjunction with Mix FM, Garden and Home Magazine, and Builders Warehouse. Willem, when it comes to using a concrete tile, what are the considerations that the homeowner, and possibly in conjunction with his architect, or certainly in conjunction with his architect, what should they be thinking about?
Uwe alluded to it earlier, is that your concrete roof covering is basically, it doesn't really change the cost of the structure. It depends on what your budget allows and your style that you want to portray out. In your neighborhood, you want to sometimes stand out from the Kumalos or the Joneses. So you want to have a roof that looks a bit different to next door. So we've always said there's double Roman concrete tiles or a dime a dozen. Everybody fights about who gets the best price. But there are some pretty nice tiles out there. And if you ask us, we'll tell you. I mean, for 1,000 Rand or 2,000 Rand more, over 3,000 tiles, you can get a pretty nice roof that looks different to somebody else. And it's not the norm. So there's those type of factors that you can consider.
You've also got a lot of accessories that you need to fit into a roof, and ridging comes to mind. And I know you guys have a very clever system that you can tell us about in a sec. That needs to be taken into account. Now, that's something that one could overlook and go, well, I haven't thought about the fascias or the barge boards or a verge tile. You've got to finish the roof off. Which leads me to my question is, can I phone you or your company, or go to your website so I can get this information?
Yes, there's a lot of bits and pieces of the complete roof on our website, and you can see that you need a verge tile or a barge tile or a hip starter if you're doing a hip roof. So there's a lot of extra things that you need to put into the structure. We've got a lot of customers out there that are truss manufacturers or roofers that actually do offer the complete service, like we were talking about the system earlier, and they will inform you, okay, you need to look at, if you're doing a gable to gable roof, you're going to need a verge tile or barge boards, or any of those added elements for your complete roof.
I often relate this story. If a homeowner has 3 million Rand to build a home, and the architects designed it with the right technology, using companies like BuildAid or quantity surveyors, that the whole parcel now is proven 3 million Rand before you start building, then price becomes it's not as important. Quality is important. So when you've chosen a Coverland tile and you start building, that's what goes up. You don't halfway go, hold on, I haven't allowed enough money here. The builder underpriced, or he's about to run away, and now we start looking for alternatives that may not have the same quality. When it comes to concrete roof tiles, and let's forget about sheeting and that for a second, Is there rubbish out there, to call a spade, or are your manufacturers all pretty high level?
I think most of the manufacturers out there are SABS approved. According to the building regulation, your roof tile has to be approved by or manufactured according to the SABS standard. There are guys that don't have that, that certification, so you could get a cheap tile out there. But the majority of your concrete roof tile manufacturers out there do manufacture according to the SABS standard. So it's just checking to make sure that you're buying the quality.
Yeah.
So it's also not it's like buying a car. Everybody looks at the NCAP rating for the safety. Are you going to buy a cheap car that's not going to be safe for your family? It's the same with the roof tile. Buy something that's quality that will last.
And plan. If you plan it, you know what you're going to get, you know what it costs, and building a home can be a really great experience. We have a question that's come in from Margie, but I'm going to get Uwe to answer it after the break. BuildAid on Mix 93.8 FM. Chatting about roofing at the moment, but we have been talking about the structure as well. A question's come in from Margie. It says, my house built in 1973 has wood trusses. Can the cement tiles or concrete tiles be replaced with metal sheeting? Uwe.
Absolutely. The answer is yes, it can. It's a lighter roof covering. I can't really guarantee the roof structure, but technically speaking, it will work. It'll require a bit more additional bracing to the structure itself. And of course, of concern now would be that the roof trusses were well secured to the brick walls and cannot blow away. The best suggestion is to contact somebody like the ITC or Institute for Timber Construction. They have a list of all their members, which are competent roof truss suppliers, and they would provide such a service.
Willem, we've been talking about roofing as a system, trusses, labor, and what have you. If a contractor or a homeowner, for that matter, wanted to get a price and quantities, etc., just on the covering, is that a service that you provide, or would they have to go to a contractor?
We can most definitely supply that service. We do, however, want to support our customers, and we generally will refer them to a roofer or a truss manufacturer, or like Builders Warehouse in the area where they can get a complete system price, because we're going to only supply the covering. They still need the trusses and so on. So it's easier for them to get a system price from one of our customers than getting a price from us. And we'd rather, like I say, support our customers in securing business as well.
Generally, retailers, let's use Builders Warehouse as an example. If you take the drawings in, they would price the trusses through their manufacturing plant, but they would also give a price for the covering, and in this example, concrete roof tiles. So although you don't have the labor at this stage, you've got all the materials. You have that part of the quotation. And the contractor that's quoting on your home, would either put it up, or he would talk to one of the ITC guys, where they provide the whole thing. And they would be one of your customers then, Willem, one of these contractors, as opposed to a Builders Warehouse.
That's correct. Although Builders has got quite a big truss plant as well, and
so they're probably getting it from them
as well.
Yeah. And I'm sure Builders has a discount structure with their contractors that works for everybody.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Just back to planning and the aesthetics on planning. How do you develop relationships and maintain relationships with architects? Because these are not easy guys to get hold of and talk to and say, well, why aren't you specifying roof sheeting, or why aren't you specifying concrete tiles or something? And their trends, we've said, at the moment, sheeting's pretty trendy, flat tiles becoming very, very popular, exposed or trusses, or Uwe corrected me on the terminology, where your open ceilings. How does Coverland as a company, what services do you offer the designer and the architect?
Now we've got some specification people in the trade. In Gauteng, we've got a dedicated person that works for us. also our regional manager in the Western Cape, is also does quite a bit of extensive work with certain of the architects. We're the only roof tile company with a accredited CPD presentation, so we try and educate the architects as well that way on especially energy efficient roofing. So we do. Plus, there are also all the other systems like that's commercially available that we subscribe to, and thereby getting to the architects where they need if they need a product specified, and sort of putting our cause in front for our roof tiles.
Let's check how we did with the circus.
Okay, well, just the last few who got it right: Alexandra Graham. Alexander Graham, look at me. Gavin, Gavin, Mike, Thomas, Ian, Colin, Nikki, Tim, and Simon. So we've got all our names here tonight. But our winner tonight is Paige. So well done to all of you who got it right. We were looking for the name Boswell Wilkie. Now you're going to kick yourself because you did go when you were a kid for absolute sure. So Paige, you've won 2 tickets to our upcoming workshop for homeowners on planning your home. It's happening on the 6th of May at the Indaba.
Thanks to Simon for looking after the desk, Kay looking after all of us, Ian doing the video work, and remember, visit our Facebook page. It's called Building Joburg on Mix. All the stuff we talk about, there's videos, there's pictures, add your comments, add your pictures and so on. And a real special thanks to my guest who has gone home already, Bram van der Walt, and my 2 guests sitting with me, Uwe Schlute and Willem Grove. Thank you so much, guys. And I look forward to talking to you guys at the workshop. So as homeowners, if you're embarking on planning your home, really, it's not difficult. Just go about it the right way. And there's companies like Mitek and Coverland and others that we're going to be chatting to that have all this information and service for free. They don't even charge, and you can get involved. We do this every week between 6 and 7. Chat you next week. Ciao.
There must be so much love in my heart that it would tear me apart. And I know, although you couldn't see,